Hey, welcome to Geek Speak. Appreciate you tuning in. And this is episode 8. And what do you want to talk about, brother?
So all the topics I'm going to be bringing up is kind of toy related.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if I've mentioned this in some of our other episodes. Y'all remind me if I have. I've never understood the penny to plastic ratio. And what I mean by that is, and you all could probably confess to this, if I was to get a figure and it stood 15 to 20 inches tall, it might cost me $19.99. Then I can buy a figure that's 10 inches long and it costs me $19.99. But then if you buy something like Star Wars Black Series or something, it's going to run you 20-some bucks.
Yeah.
It's less plastic. Like if I give you an ounce of gold, it has worth.
Right.
But if I give you a pound of gold, it's going to be worth more, right? So how is it the plastic to penny ratio doesn't? And you can't tell me it's like because it has more articulation or more detail. I'm not buying that.
But that's what I was getting ready to say.
I know.
But I mean, I think it boils down to number one, articulation, and I do think that how much time and effort go into the figure. So some of your high-end figures would be Hot Toys, Sideshow, Mezco. Those are some of your, we're talking $200 figures, $100 figures, something like that. And I think part of it goes into the license. So like if I purchase, I'm going to make Star Wars figures, then I have to purchase that license. Okay. Some licenses are cheaper than others. And so if it's an expensive license, then I've got to recoup that money, and I do it by charging my figures more. Now,
yeah, but I got a Wonder Woman that's this tall, and like you can see all the stitching and everything in her faucet and everything, and the sculpt looks just like Gadot or whatever.
Yeah, Gal Gadot.
And I'm sitting there thinking, that's as good as the smaller ones were, and they were wanting the same amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, you do see some people overcharging for crappier figures, and you do see some better figures cheaper. Right. But there's a huge adult market for action figures out there and collectibles, and the 12-inch line is real popular now. But it's funny, you go to the toy department and for the most part they're crappy toys.
Right.
And whereas when we were younger you could go and some of the toys would have cloth clothing and lots of accessories and so they've changed a lot of that now, and so but there's a lot of people our age that have some expendable income, and so a lot of those figures are just pushed to the adult market. It's amazing how much stuff comes out every month that a child would never see. If you're an adult collector, you do. So, have you watched any of the animated Star Treks on Paramount Plus?
I watched the ones that came out that were like. Are you talking about the ones that were like based after anime?
Yeah, now you're thinking. I think you're thinking Star Wars. There's
what did you say?
Star Trek.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So
there's a series called Star Trek Lower Decks. It's on the.
Oh yeah, it's made by the same people that does like Adventure Time or something. Like that.
And to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of a lot of the new Trek on Paramount Plus. But Star Trek Lower Decks, it's animated, but it's funny and it's well written. Mm-hmm. And if you're a fan of Star Trek, it's really the best new Star Trek is Orville, which isn't Star Trek at all. But the best new Star Trek that's actually Star Trek would be Lower Decks. And it's the first season irritated me because everybody talks super fast and shouted everything. It's like they were trying to take a script this long and squeeze it into a 30-minute cartoon.
Right.
And I think they did that by having everybody talk like an auctioneer, and it kind of got irritating. But
well, we are from Kentucky, and we talk a whole lot slower.
We talk slower. But season 2 was better, and season 3 was even better than that. So it's really, really a decent show. And so they come out with one. Nickelodeon come out with a Star Trek animated that's on Paramount Plus as well, which is called Star Trek Prodigy. Star Trek Lower Decks is 2-dimensional animation.
Okay.
Star Trek Prodigy is 3-dimensional animation. And so when I first started watching it, it seemed it happened over in the Delta Quadrant with totally different alien races, and it seemed more like a Star Wars episode than a Star Trek episode. But as time went on, It's a fantastic show. It's good too, and it's in the second season of it's getting ready to start. So if you're a Star Trek fan, which you're not,
Right.
but if you're a Star Trek fan, yeah, check out Lower Decks and Prodigy. They're actually better than Strange New Worlds and Discovery and Picard. They're actually better than those shows, and so I actually look forward to them. So
Cool.
what else you got, brother?
So we're both Mego fans, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So they are getting ready to release a Red Hood from DC. That's
Yeah.
what I like about Mego is because they do a lot. They've done some Marvel.
Yeah.
But they do a lot of DC characters.
Yes.
The sculpt on the head, I'm happy with.
Yeah.
The jacket, they're making it black instead of brown. But that's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about something I knew that would tickle your fancy. Is have you seen that they're coming out with?
I like my fancy tickle.
Right? You don't? So, have you seen that they're coming out with the Deep Space Nine characters?
I had seen some of those.
So
yeah,
I've seen
yeah.
the Quark, the Worf, and the Cisco. The Worf, dude, spot on.
Yeah.
And Cisco, pretty good. Quark, yeah.
Yeah.
But man, I seen those and I was like, oh, Tracy's gonna go. Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yeah, what's great about Mego is they have cloth clothing, decent articulation, and so the face sculpts are real hit and miss. Sometimes they nail it. You picked up.
They really should concentrate on that because their bodies are all the same.
Yeah.
They don't go uber detail on the suits, costume. Half the time it's just a onesie. So the head sculpts where they really should concentrate.
Yeah, and I mean, but for the money, you usually pick them up around $15 to $20, depending on whether you get them aftermarket or whether you find them in the store.
Right.
But you got Deathstroke lately.
Yeah,
and I mean that's a really nice Deathstroke figure, and you paid a little more than retail for it because it was at a Comic-Con.
Right.
But still, you got a decent figure,
Right.
for a fairly cheap price. So, did you hear about? So Amazon had the rights to Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
I'm a huge Conan fan. So they had a guy named Ryan Condal write these scripts, and the people that read the scripts were just blown away. They said, "This is the next Game of Thrones.
Oh, okay.
This is fantastic." And he tried his best to stay true to Robert E. Howard's vision of Conan. Well, a girl named Jennifer Salk, who's over Amazon, looked at it and said, "There's too much toxic masculinity in the series."
Of course.
And so they
How dare Barbarian be manly?
So they fired Ryan and canceled the series, and they focused on Wheel of Time anyway. I don't mind, because I would rather them not do it than to muck it up. So now Netflix has the rights to that Conan series.
Okay.
Now, whether Netflix can do it without having to be a woke mess, but you can't do Conan unless you just do Conan.
Right.
And so Conan's a man's man, and if they can't do it right, even though Jennifer screwed up, she should have kept Ryan on and made the series, because that would have helped Amazon out. Hopefully Netflix will be true to Robert E. Howard's stories. So that's one case where you're excited because somebody's going to make something, and then they decide not to make it, and you're excited that they're not making it.
Well, that's kind of sad too.
Well, I think Amazon would have messed it up. I mean, just her making that comment, "I can't do this. It's too manly." There's no such thing as toxic masculinity. There's just people that don't like masculinity.
Right.
So if that's not your cup of tea, you can churn the station. There's something else. But there should be something on there for everybody. Everything shouldn't be the same flavor. What else you got?
Real quick. Okay. So it's kind of a pet peeve, and y'all can tell me if you agree with me or you just say, "Robert, you're crazy. It's crap." I'm so tired of Build-A-Figs where they come out with a series of figurines and toys. Like right now, in one of the series I'm looking at, you can build Batman's horse from Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
But his head's over here, his tail's over there. You got 4 legs, you got a torso.
You got to buy like how many figures to put that figure together?
Oh, like 7 or 8. And the thing is, I mean, who can spend $20 a pop to get a horse? And I've only done it once. I didn't buy the whole series. I literally went to eBay and was buying parts off of there so I could build an Odin figure. It could be Odin or Thor. And so that's the only Build-A-Figure I've got. But it just burns my biscuits that you got to spend money for a character you don't like or in a figurine that you don't like just so you can get a hoof.
Right.
Or something like that.
Right,
So.
right. Yeah, it's just it's a way for them to try to sell more figures. And
Right.
there's lots
I understand it. It's a marketing thing.
Yeah, yeah. And there's people that collect. I know people that collect only those Build-A-Figures.
Yeah.
So
now,
they
do
don't
they
even,
buy them after somebody else has built them?
they'll usually, there's a guy on YouTube, and I've talked about it before. His name's David Eon. He's on a channel called Open by Chance. His son's really big into selling toys.
Okay.
And so his son, kind of like a Father's Day gift type thing, whenever he comes across these parts and pieces, when he's able to put together an entire Build-A-Figure, he will send it to his dad. And so he's got a whole collection of the Build-A-Figures.
Okay.
And but it's, wouldn't it be nice if our kids did that for us?
That would be cool. I wouldn't want them to do it because I don't want to break
No.
the bank.
I wouldn't want him to buy her a figure, but I think he comes across them in the wild. I don't think he buys them. I think he buys them secondhand, like flea markets and yard sales and toy swaps and stuff like that. So we recently played Dungeons and Dragons for the first time in about a decade. The whole pen and paper game. We had our maps and our miniatures, and we got together and played with
piss in the portal.
Kids.
Portal.
Yeah, you got to piss in the portal. Yeah.
Say that fast.
It's an inside joke. You had to beat there. But the thing is, it's hard to get. Like when the kids were in the house, we played D&D, but it's hard to get everybody together.
Right.
To play.
Constantly.
Everybody's schedule's different. And so if you're a big Dungeons and Dragons fan, it's hard to nail everybody down. But an option of that, and something I tried out and I enjoyed, is, when I was a kid, they had these computer games, before consoles come out, and they had some D&D computer games, and you could play them on your laptop. And I recently picked up Baldur's Gate, which is one of them I hadn't previously played.
Okay.
And this is old school. They redone it for Xbox One, and they have Baldur's Gate 1 and 2. It's enhanced edition, but you get to create your character. You get to decide what class they are. You get to work on their appearance. You get to give them a name, and you get to do everybody in your party. So like I made everybody in our entire group. Made your character and the kid's character, and so then when I'm down there playing, I got all the other characters, and you get to control them, or you can let the computer take care of it. And so it's just nice for that Dungeons and Dragons person that wants to scratch that itch, but he can't get everybody together. So if you get a chance and that's something you're into, definitely check out Baldur's Gate. Now you got to realize, this is an old school game that's been redone for a new console.
What
console
is this?
Xbox One. So the graphics, the graphics are 20, 30 years old. I can't remember exactly how old that game is, but it's at least 20, probably 30 years old. But the story's fun, and we grew up with crappy graphics. So to be honest with you, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it at all. So anyway, anything else?
Nope.
Well, me and Teresa the other day watched Fire and Ice. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
What's
Frank
that guy's?
Frazzetti.
Yeah. Frank Frazzetti, based on Frank Frazzetti art.
Yeah.
And what's that Baskey's guy's name that did the Hobbits? Ralph?
Is it? Are you thinking?
No, the guy that did the animated Hobbits.
I want to see Rankin and Bass, but I don't
Yeah,
think
that
that's
may
it.
be Rankin and Bass.
I
But
think
anyway,
they did the still animation for all the Christmas shit.
well, they did. They produced this,
Right.
and they had artists based everything on Frank Frazzetti's art. But it's an old animated sword and sorcery that you can. I think you can watch it on YouTube for free. I'm not for sure, but we watched it on one of the channels. We didn't pay for it, and if you got a smart TV, but it's like back from the 1980s, fantastic
I got it
animation.
memorized. I had it on VHS and I wore that thing out.
Oh, it's great. So if you ever get a chance to watch Fire and Ice, it's just a good sword and sorcery, if that's what you're into. My wife never had seen it. She watched it and loved it. So yeah, if you get a chance to check it out, check it out. So it definitely gets 2 thumbs up from Rob and Trace.
Yeah, right.
All right. Maybe we can't do that because Cisco and Ebert used to do that. Okay.
Well, here, we'll do 2 mugs up.
Okay. All right. Yeah, there you go. 2 mugs up. Yeah,
Gets
there you
2
go.
mugs
All
up.
right, there you go. All right. See you guys next time.